Today you are living the life of a Shenzhen urban village landlord. From the rice paddies my father farmed to the handshake buildings that made me suddenly rich, I have watched the tides of wealth come in and go back out. I was born in 1972 in a small fishing village outside Shenzhen. 6 of us crowded into a single mud brick house, with rice paddies in front and pig pens out back. Father went down to the fields before dawn. Mother hauled water and fed the pigs. By age 7, I followed my brother out to tend the water buffalo, barefoot on the paddy ridges, the village quiet as if asleep. We had no electricity. At night, we lit kerosene lamps. The family gathered around a wooden table eating sweet potato porridge with a single dish of salted fish, and I never imagined life could be any other way. When typhoons hit in summer, the roof leaked, and Father would climb up to spread plastic sheets. Looking out from the rooftop, he would say a big city was coming, though he didn't quite believe it himself. Our village school had one classroom for 3 grades sharing the same desks. My grades were average, but I could run, and what I loved most was catching fish in the river after class. When I was 9, my eldest uncle came back from Hong Kong on a smuggled trip and brought me a digital wristwatch. The little red numbers blinking on the dial held me transfixed for a whole afternoon. In 1980, Shenzhen was designated a special economic zone, and suddenly men in hard hats appeared in our village, walking through our family's paddies with blueprints and measuring tape. The government requisitioned most of the farmland, paying each household a few thousand yuan in compensation while letting us keep the homestead plot. Father gripped that stack of cash in a daze and said this was our ancestors' land. With the fields gone, I left school at 14 and joined other village boys at construction sites carrying bricks. Hundreds of bricks a day, until my shoulders looked like peeled sweet potatoes. Next to the construction sites, factories ran day and night, their lights bleaching the sky white. Watching the cranes rise inch by inch, I knew this place was about to become another world entirely. At 17, through an acquaintance, I took a job as a factory security guard for 300 yuan a month with meals and bed included. I stood at the gate watching lines of female assembly workers stream in and out. More and more factories opened, and migrants flooded into the village looking for housing. We had 2 empty rooms in the old house, and Father reluctantly agreed to take in 2 workers for 80 yuan a month. 80 yuan wasn't small money back then, half of my monthly wage. I began to wonder, if we built the house larger and rented out more rooms, wouldn't that be far better? In 1994, I had saved a little and convinced Father to add a second story. Village brothers came to help, hauling cart after cart of bricks and sack after sack of cement. In 1996, the second floor was finished. Rent rose to 120 per room, and 5 rooms together brought in 600 a month. I quit security work and committed myself fully to being a small landlord. Factories in Shenzhen sprouted up like bamboo after rain, and workers kept arriving in unbroken streams. Village entrances were plastered with rental notices, and rooms barely sat empty 2 days before being snapped up by new tenants. In 1999, I added a 3rd floor. Old neighbor Huang across the lane built 4, and our balconies were so close we could almost shake hands. That's why people later called them handshake-buildings. Buildings in the village rose taller and packed tighter, sunlight reduced to narrow vertical slits between walls. But rent went up once a year, and nobody saw any problem with that. In 2003, I added a 5th floor, giving us 12 rooms in total. Monthly rent reached 3,800 yuan, more than I used to earn in a whole year as a guard. I began buying furniture, fitting each room with a television and a water heater. Tenants said ours was the cleanest building in the village, and rent could be 20 yuan higher than the neighbors charged. In 2005, I married Afin from our same village, and the wedding banquet filled 30 tables. My father-in-law studied my building and quietly said he hadn't misjudged me at all. In 2008, my son was born, and that same year, I converted the ground floor into a small convenience store with a public phone booth. With shop income and rent combined, we cleared close to 10,000 a month. People in the village began whispering about demolition, saying the government would redevelop the whole urban village. I was skeptical, but my heartbeat quickened more than a few times. In 2012, the red-headed demolition notice was pasted on the village committee office, announcing the area was entering urban renewal. Hardly anyone on the whole street slept that night. In 2014, we signed the contracts. Compensation based on floor area gave our family 12 relocation apartments plus 6 million yuan in cash. My hand trembled as I signed. On the way home, I bought a case of beer and sat on the rooftop balcony watching our own building, the building that would be flattened the very next day. On demolition day, the whole extended family came. The first scoop of the excavator turned a house we had lived in for 40 years into rubble in seconds, and I stood there watching every minute of it. During the 3-year transition, we rented a commercial apartment, collecting a government transition allowance of 6,000 yuan a month. That alone covered the whole household's expenses. In 2017, the relocation apartments were delivered, 12 of them all in newly built high-rise compounds. We kept 3 to live in, rented out 9, and combined rent topped 80,000 a month. I bought a white BMW, my wife wore gold chains, and our son transferred into an elite primary school. Our family became a legend villagers retold over and over. Brothers in the village had each collected their compensation, and almost every one of them became a multi-millionaire overnight. In the tea houses, a single cup of Dansong oolong could carry a whole afternoon of conversation. In 2019, I founded a family property management company dedicated solely to handling the rental and maintenance of those 12 apartments. The monthly income flowed in while I lay still, and it kept climbing. Daily life became collecting rent by car and playing mahjong at the private clubhouse in the evening. The days felt like a slowly rising elevator where any floor seemed perfectly fine. In 2021, my son went abroad for high school, and my wife went with him to Vancouver as the accompanying parent. Left alone in Shenzhen for the first time, I noticed how empty the home suddenly felt. With wife and son gone, I started spending time at the clubhouse and met a new crowd. Someone took me to Macau, and the first time I touched the cards, I won 300,000. The taste of winning was 10 times more thrilling than collecting rent. I started flying to Macau twice a month, and slowly the losses outnumbered the wins, but I couldn't stop. In 2022, I met Xiao Wan at the clubhouse, 16 years younger than me. I bought her an apartment and a car and transferred living expenses to her every month. My wife called from Vancouver demanding answers, and I mumbled through it before hanging up. The next day, she flew back to Shenzhen, and the moment she stepped through the door, she smashed the living room vase. In 2023, my son flew back from overseas, pounded the table, and announced he was cutting all ties with me as his father. Only in that moment did I realize the family had truly broken apart. Urban management inspectors discovered I had illegally added floors to 2 of my relocation apartments. The fine was 800,000. The additions all had to be torn down, and I lost 12,000 a month in rent. My wife filed for divorce and demanded half of my property. The day the lawyer's letter arrived, I sat on the balcony and smoked an entire pack of cigarettes. Once Xiaowan learned I was tangled in lawsuits, she gradually went silent. When she moved out, she took the car and emptied the apartment, and only then did I understand it was never me she wanted. By 2024, many Shenzhen factories had relocated to Southeast Asia, and migrant workers dwindled. Out of my 9 rental apartments, 4 sat empty all year, and I still had to keep cutting rent. Some of the neighbors in the village grew anxious too. In the tea houses, the topic shifted from which car to buy next to how much rent had dropped, and the mood quietly turned cold. Rumors of a property tax landing soon began circulating online, unsettling everyone in the village who held a lot of apartments. Calculating it out, I figured I would owe several $100,000 a year. In early 2025, I sold 3 of the commercial apartments and used the cash to pay off the gambling debts. The numbers in my account were bigger, but my heart felt only more hollow. Through mediation, my ex-wife took our son in one of the larger apartments. I moved into the smallest unit in the relocation compound, about 50 square meters, living alone. One evening, I walked past the very plot of land I had signed away for demolition. A new tower already stood there. I lingered for a long time, feeling as if it had nothing to do with me anymore. More than 50 years, From my father's mud brick house, to the handshake buildings in my hands, to the high-rise after relocation. I thought I had seized wealth, but really I only caught the wind it stirred as it passed through. The tide rises and falls. The city keeps moving forward, and I have finally learned to quietly hold on to the one apartment I still have left.